This is my Army Men collection. So I've been collecting plastic soldiers since I was about 4 years old, and every couple of years I like to show off what I have, with my first collection video from 2016 showing a very small army of mostly broken pieces and the remnants of my childhood strewn haphazardly across my old bedroom. Then in 2021 I did an updated video showing some cool new additions to the army, as well as a giant plane that I, funnily enough, only got about a month after the original 2016 video. As you can see, the collection has at least doubled in size over the last several years, and this footage is actually a few months old, as since it's been filmed I've gotten even more army men and another giant plane that I've had to film in a separate location because I ran out of space in the living room. I'm gonna get right into these and break them down group by group and tell you a bit about each one. Leave a like if you end up enjoying, and let's get right into it. So first off, the elephant, or should I say specters, in the room. These are two AC-130 gunships I got from a company called Timme. That's two separate words, Tim and then me, spelled with two E's. They're a US-based company that actually does their manufacturing in the US, which is something I really like, and both the quality and variety of these figures is for the most part unmatched, so you're going to see a lot of Timmes in this video. I'm not sponsored by them or anything, but I do like their stuff, and Timme, if you're watching this, hit me up, let's talk. So, these two AC-130s are actual behemoths. You can see some of the soldiers here next to one for scale, and you can actually load up quite a decent amount of troops inside these things if you want to. They have back and side doors that open, as well as rotating cannons accurately placed on the left side of the gunship, just like they are in real life. They also come with a few soldiers and a tank with the newer tan one, also coming with these pretty nice fighter jets. Onto the rest of the collection, and there's quite a bit of variety here. In my old videos, I, for the most part, just had green, tan, with a few grays and blacks mixed in there, but now I have over a dozen colors of varying quantities. Some are Timmes, some are from a shop called Poundland that I got when I went to the UK, and others I just picked up from random garage sales and clearance aisles at old hobby stores. Not only do I have the typical green and tans, but I've also got a bit more obscure colors like orange, black, purple, electric blue, vibrant red, and sky blue. I've also got more eras than ever before. Typically, most army men usually are molded to have Vietnam-era equipment, but as of present, I've managed to collect World War II-era German, British, American, and even Japanese soldiers, which are pretty rare from what I've seen. I also managed to get my hands on some still-in-package late 90s World War II British paratroopers, which were, fun fact, actually some of the very first army men I ever got as a kid. You can see some of my originals lined up here. I stumbled upon these a few months ago being sold as the last remnants of a hobby store that had closed down, and I instantly recognized them, so I had to pick them up. Then there are the ultra-rare World War I era French soldiers, which I've never seen before, but I got 2 bags of them, as well as some World War I Germans and some American doughboys, which, these guys are just amazing. I've never seen these molds before, and judging by the dates on the bottom of them, they're pretty old. Let me know in the comments below if you've ever had any of these growing up. Moving ahead into a bit more of a modern age, I have a few soldiers of both green and tan, decked out with ACOG sights and M4s looking like they came straight out of Modern Warfare 2. The pack I got these in also came with a few vehicles, namely an M1 Abrams tank for each color, as well as a helicopter and an F-18 in gray. Bringing us into the future, I have 2 different genres of sci-fi army men, one being these 1950s-esque space characters complete with spacemen, droids, and even knockoff Wookiees. These are all Timme branded, and I have them in conventional dark green, tan, red, orange, electric blue, and lime green, as well as this red Scout Rover type thing that came in the bucket, and some little space fighters. A fun fact about these is that the original molds were actually made by a company called Process Plastic Co. in the late 1970s, right after the original Star Wars movie came out at the same time. In fact, if you take a look at the original concept art for the film and compare it to the old space figure molds, the resemblance is definitely noticeable. These space figures are essentially knockoff Star Wars toys mixed with a 1950s aesthetic, and I absolutely love it. Aside from the 1950s Star Wars, I also have another group of sci-fi themed army men that I affectionately call the Starship Troopers, because like the Star Wars figures, the resemblance here is also quite noticeable. These little guys are perfect for fighting anthills in the backyard, and they're probably one of my favorite army men molds to date. I picked them up at a toy store in the UK, though I think you can get them in the US as well. They came in 3 colors, tan, dark red, and a light green, with each having their own vehicles and accessories, with red being particularly interesting, having both tanks and these anti-air mech walkers. A really nice assortment of things to play with and something I've never seen before. The Starship Troopers themselves also have some nice variety, with lasers placed on bipods, soldiers charging with bayonets, rocket launcher soldiers, and others. Something interesting about these molds specifically is that I remember years ago finding some smaller scale ones with very similar designs and poses, just with full spacesuits instead of the gas masks and the vests. I don't think I have any of them anymore, but if anyone else remembers these, let me know in the comments below. It seems like a lot of these molds were passed around from company to company, factory to factory, and each put their own spin on things based off of what was popular at the time. Historical and space fantasy soldiers aside, I've also got a few interesting pieces here that don't quite fit with the traditional Armyman theme, but I still wanted to include them nonetheless. Here I have an M1 Abrams brick model from a company called Kobe, which is based out of Poland, and they make all kinds of military-themed brick models. They are a bit pricey, especially in the US due to the cost of importing them, but if you can get your hands on a few of these, I would recommend them. The quality of their modern sets is more or less on par with LEGO, and the sets themselves are pretty detailed. I also have a few model helicopters from a Vietnam-era Huey to Cold War helicopters like the Apache or the Soviet Hind. Then there's this giant B-2 Spirit, as well as these giant dump trucks that also came from Timme. Not sure where these things fit in exactly with the rest of the collection or what I'll use them for, but they were on sale for a good price along with these yellow construction workers, so here they are. Speaking of yellow, I also have these guys that come with their own boat and special molds. They aren't the best molds, with these probably being my least favorite thing to come from Timme, but they are certainly unique and they're not something I've seen before. I don't know much about the history behind them. I think they're based off of much older styles of army men, but I can't say for sure. Then I have these orange guys. Not much to say about them other than the fact that they're just regular standard army men poses, but in this really nice vibrant orange color. Next to orange, I have another more obscure mold, which are these green and tan flight crew guys. They're a bit taller than standard army men, and again, these are all from Timme here. Not really sure where they originally came from, but yeah, that's a thing. Then there's the pink army women. That's right, every single one of these are modeled as females. They, like many of the other unique colors and molds, also come from Timme, and they have quite a bit of unique poses, including a dog with a handler, a medical crew which looks like something straight out of MASH, as well as these really nice detailed soldiers with M14s and BARs, which are quite cool as I've never really seen these weapons featured with army men before, so having them here is certainly a nice addition to the collection, and I gotta say I'm not opposed to the pink color. I actually really like these guys, or girls I guess. Definitely something interesting that adds a nice bit of variety to a mostly green and tan army. Some of the other wackier colors I have in smaller quantities include grays, blacks, deep purple, and even a few neon-colored cowboys and Indians that I had gotten as a child, though I don't have many of them left as most of them got lost in mud pits or sandboxes somewhere over the course of my life. Last but not least, I wanted to talk about these guys, which are some of my newer World War II themed soldiers. I actually got 2 separate buckets of them recently with what are for the most part very similar molds, however the plastic quality is drastically different, and the lower quality German soldiers specifically have a few extra molds and poses from the higher quality ones. Another oddity is that for some reason the Germans and the British are depicted with the same weapons for certain poses. Not sure why that is. But onto the vehicles, I've got the aforementioned AC-130s and spaceships, as well as an assortment of half-tracks, tanks, fuel trucks, jeeps, and even this mammoth tank from Command & Conquer Renegade. These were a thing in the early 2000s, and I had gotten this one from a now defunct toy store called KB Toys way back in the day. Unfortunately, during my teen years, I made the not very wise decision to shoot this one with a BB gun, hence its terrible condition. I've also got APCs, a few planes, and even these very large detailed World War II tanks that I got from some hobby store, the same one with the British airborne troops. So that is my Armyman collection in 2025. It's truly massive and the largest that it's ever been. It took literal days to set up, and next time I really need to get some more tables because getting all these guys to stand up on the carpet was infuriating, especially when my cat decided there was things he wanted in the middle of the setup, so if for nothing else, leave a like for the tremendous amount of effort that took. If you'd like to help grow this collection, join the channel Discord where we host Halo game nights every couple of weeks, or just support my work, You can find a link to my Patreon in the description below. Just a few dollars here and there goes a long way in helping me continue to make videos like this one, as well as my other gaming content. But that aside, thank you so much if you made it to the end of this video. Have a great day, and stay safe. Goodbye.